Hi Libra. This is going to be a really interesting reading. This will be good for you if you have a sun, moon, or rising sign in Libra. If you don't know me, I'm a Libra and my name is Chandler Christine. I pay special attention to these readings as I resonate deeply with them most of the time. And just recently, I've started my YouTube channel doing readings for the general public because I know and feel it that there's just so much going on within our lives that a lot of us really do need this clarity right now. I sense that this month in June 2018, we're going to be receiving a few influxes, in different areas of our lives. And this obviously will have a different effect on people who resonate more strongly with the planets that I see or with the signs that I see. However, these are just general energies and you can expect an influence regardless. So, this is really interesting coming up from my spirit oracle and from the angels. Fresh air and healing. I do sense that in this month there's going to be a lot of healing, okay? And we've kind of seen this coming up within our emotions for the past few months. It's been requiring us to digest some things fully and for good. Leaving that swinging door finally shut or open, regardless of where you're at, you're going to be feeling both a closing and a opening of new potentials in your life. That's what this sun really represents. And I see a few factors of getting this very sun, creative, passionate energy. And a lot of this is going to be felt through our emotions, hence this very watery card with hearts flying all around the sun. It's very symbolic of a heart opening experience or situation. And I do see some circumstantial evidence that our external world will be shifting as well this month because of our actions being based on our beliefs, which are changing. Okay, so it goes very deep and it's profound, but it's also very easy for us because a lot of us have been through times which do need healing. They've been really hard. They've been really, we've exhausted ourselves in a lot of ways. And whether it's just overthinking and being anxious about things to come or making our decisions based off of fear, all of those things are going to be coming up for review in order for you to heal. So don't be surprised if you have surprises that jolt your nervous system, jolt your subconscious, jolt what you believe to be true in any facet of its meaning. Whether it's that you've been living by someone else's truth for too long, you may have been stubborn and callous in your actions because you believed that you couldn't do better or that there was no other option. All of these things are basically stemming from fear, and all those reasons are reasons to heal yourself this month. So that's just a general energy reading, right? The most basic energy that you can get of June is going to be on this very healing, deeply emotional, and opportunistic type of viewpoint. The back of the healing card says, healing, positive transformation is occurring on a soul level. The answer to your question is yes. The other card we see here is the angel card, fresh air. And it suggests that you have maybe been boarding yourself in your home or taking a lot of isolation time or spending a lot of time alone and not outside frolicking in the flowers, not outside running or exercising or just simply breathing and connecting with nature. Maybe you've been overworked, maybe you've been putting things that should be a priority in the back burner and not really taking enough time for yourself. So this month is a really good month because it has this very potent energy of healing already. That the outdoors, nature, children, things that are very connected with just the basic level consciousness and serenity of nature and life, we really need to soften up, okay? This healing is screaming at me that we've been hardened, we've been really analytical, we've been very judgy, and when that happens, our subtle body oftentimes gets off kilter, and we start to miss the smaller things. We start to forget the details, and overlook what that creative potential is really all about. So as much as this is just a very basic card, know that the energy coming through is all about your inner healing, and that the more of this kind of element that you can incorporate in your life, the better. The first card that comes up is the Seven of Air with the King of Swords and the Ten of Swords. So really interesting start to June. And I think this has a lot to do with the end of May. I see some lunar references. We have the moon and the sun. So what I'm picking up with this Seven of Air is mostly that during this full moon, it's going to be illuminating during the full moon on, 29th of May. So towards the end of May, we're going to beginning to feel this influx of air energy, very intellectual, kind of beaming that spotlight on our belief systems, our thoughts, and the structure of how we hold ourselves in the world is going to be shifting, but in a good way, because I think a lot of us are enjoying this self-identification process that we're going through, this reinvention of ourselves in the subtle ways, in the ways that we can incorporate in our daily lives, in this fundamental feeling energy. This also has something to do with indoctrination, so beginning something that you very much believe and very hold a lot of space for in your life. This can be religion, this can be spirituality, this can even just be a practice. And there were subtle hints in the last reading that there's going to be need for practices, things that are routine to you, things that you can devote energy to in order to really create the space and meaning in your emotions and in your belief systems again. Because as much as we are very intellectual and we can get very much in our thoughts, we really do need this structure, this foundation to come back to that is simple, it's fair, it's clear. So if you've been overcomplicating things, that's going to be really highlighted during this full moon on May 29th, did I say? And then as this leads into June, it's going to make a little bit more sense, but you're going to feel the beginning, right, of that energy in May. The King of Swords comes up with the Ten of Swords, indicating that you have been over-analytical, you have been very judgmental, you have been overly critical, self-criticizing, I'm hearing, over your actions, and therefore it's really delayed you from making growth. This person has a foresight in the future that extends far beyond the potentials of now in this moment. As he uses intuition, he can foresee what he's creating in his life. The King of Swords in reverse, unfortunately, indicates that you might be delaying your own growth because you're still basing your actions on things that have happened in the past. You're foreseeing something based off of the obstacles and experiences you've had in the past, and therefore these things keep coming up that don't end up finding resolution. The Ten of Swords means that we can't intellectually get there, right? This King of Swords means that, we have this straight and narrow path and we follow it diligently, and we have this aspiration that's so strong it just carries us through. Well, we've lost a little bit of that, I think. And the Ten of Swords comes up saying that you have gone through a really terrible time, right? A lot of loss, a lot of hurt, a lot of burden, a lot of weight. And fortunately, right, you feel this in your gut when you really feel this card. It's painful. It's hard. You've had to, carry yourself, and it's been exhausting. And finally, you fall. It's this surrender that allows you to see things very clearly. And I believe this is how you've been very unfair in the past. Maybe there's even a significant other that you have been involved with that has done you wrong, and you've played out the victim card a little bit too long. Maybe, there is an indication that an ex could be coming back this month. So this could be relating to those harbored emotions that really need to become one with you and not something you're constantly running from. The Queen of Earth comes up because there's an opportunity for fertility, marriage, union, but more so fertility in the natural sense of child birth, starting a new organic beginnings, trust, faith, openness. It does talk of surrender in the way that it's a very feminine energy, and it's not looking to dominate or criticize, but it's more open to interpretation and allowing the flow to really take its hold within your life. Because I feel like as many of you who have been starting a spiritual practice or maybe just trying to live more aligned with your own belief systems, you're going to be coming up against emotional happenings or emotional energies within you that need to be reconciled in order for you to make a better judgment call about what you do believe in and how you hold yourself. So again, this Queen of Earth is a very trusted advisor, okay? She is open, she is kind, she is caring, she is compassionate, but she is strong, and people really recognize and respect her for that. So those of you who have been playing the victim, again, it's kind of this feeling that once the moon cycle, and because I'm seeing the moon and we're getting these double moons in May, I know that just going to have much more of an effect on this reading. So that's why I'm focusing on it. But that's going to be followed by a half moon on the 6th, and because it's so early in the reading, I would say that might have something to do with the half moon. This energy will be felt during that time, or on the full moon, a new moon on the 13th, or full moon on the 28th. So the reason I'm emphasizing this so much, June has a new moon on the 13th and a full moon on the 28th, so this can coincide, this kind of energy coincides with one of those moons, because we have the sun and moon upright underneath the Queen of Earth, indicating that there's some kind of astrological alignment here happening that's going to deeply affect Libras specifically. And for those of you who are maybe Taurus, this can have to do with being Taurus season, but more so either Capricorn or Taurus, a very earthy energy. If you have a lot of earth in your sign or in your birth chart, then that can indicate you guys might be feeling this influx a little bit more. A lot of us have been thinking of starting families, having children. The sun can indicate a very childlike, playful energy as well, associated with the Queen of Earth. So these are all very feminine energies. And the moon, when it comes up, it means that we have felt unstable for so long, that we have been on this pier, indecisive or even stubborn, in the wake of this pier going down beneath our feet. We can no longer stand on a sturdy structure, and we must make a decision. We either sink with this sinking ship or sinking pier, or we go out into the somewhat unknown and still fight for that which we dream. So if you have dreams, or if you have this connection with another that is somewhat out of your grasp, or maybe it's you haven't wanted to move on from it because you're still so connected, and it's this indecision that's keeping you in this cycle. It's very specific. You can make a decision, right? And depending on how you make that decision, which I think you will be following your intuition, you will be following your heart, there's an influx of emotional energy, and things are going to be changing. This can also speak to a foundation within your relationships that is going down, and you have to make a decision whether or not to be with this person. I think specifically, and I'm getting a lot of you are deciding that in the past, it's in the past. You are not deciding to cling on to any kind of past lover or past relationship, and that there are hopes in the current relationship you're in, or a future relationship you will be in, to just suit your life better. The sun speaks of newness, new beginning, fresh ideas, freshness, connection with God, this very earthly and heavenly energy, connecting us with children, and that's playful, spiritedness that we get when things are just alit, things are alight and aligned, I'm hearing. So if things are not seeming aligned and things are very shaky in your foundation of where you either live or the relationship you're in, then I would say, look into your emotions. Look into that which keeps you stuck, either from moving forward with someone or from breaking it off, because this indecisiveness is not going to serve you. Let's see, what is this? The Six of Water comes up with the Eight of Coins and the Fool. Okay, so another interesting play here, speaking to some kind of endings and closures, but mostly within our emotional realm. And I feel as though I always talk about our emotions, but that's just because this is the kind of energy that we're receiving. Libras really need this. So even if it is uncomfortable and kind of dramatic, just know that it's going to make you a better person. And it's going to squash a lot of the issues you've had in life. So it is very real and tangible in that way. The Six of Water comes up, speaking of an insincerity, callousness, stubbornness, and just really being unjust or unfair to another. And I feel as though some of you may be involved with a water sign, okay? So that can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And they are going to be helping you through these emotions, regardless of whether you have conflict with them or whether they are in your past or present. They have held a significant impact on your emotional state and will continue to do so by helping you clarify what exactly that is. So again, this kindness and compassion really needs to come from you. Whether you have a significant other who has maybe done you wrong, which I definitely see, you guys have been hurt in the past. If they've done you wrong, it's not time to continue to bash them or criticize them or dwell, right? You're hurting yourself. This doesn't talk about hurting anyone but yourself by not forgiving them. And it's really important that you look at what that does for you and not what it does for them. Because if I'm right, it doesn't really do a lot for them. It actually is pretty meaningless for them. This is all for you, right? So it's time to really understand yourself. And that's what Uranus in Taurus is doing for us this May and June. It's helping us clarify ourself, our inner being, our real truths, our real beliefs, and how we hold ourselves within the world. This Eight of Coins and the Fool comes up to further clarify the Six of Water, because your artistry and the kind of creative knack that you've had, maybe it's in a sexual sense, maybe it's in just a passionate sense, but Wands talks about something obtainable that can be useful in many ways. And we really have to look at what exactly this pertains to when we're talking about a relationship. This can mean so many things. What works and what doesn't in a relationship is up to you to decide. But there's something that you said, this doesn't work for me anymore. This is cutting my creative flow. This is not allowing me to be myself and express myself the way I want. And this whole thing just feels really like tied together, just strung together in odd parts. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't reflect me. And I think that's what the Eight of Coins really specifies. So when you have a lot of wand energy, you have a lot of swords energy, but I think more specifically, we're talking about the major arcana here. You have the sun, the moon, and the fool, indicating that these specific times in your reading or in your month are going to be pivotal for the decision making that you do and where it will lead you. I see a lot of you coming to the end of the month with some dramatic endings, right? And it's not dramatic in a bad way. It's just like finally it's done. It's clear cut. And in order to do this, you need to assemble some sort of structure or boundaries within yourself in order to reap the kind of rewards you really deserve. The Eight of Coins also speaks of a certain cycle, right? Karma, going back and forth, but even ends. So maybe instead of being a victim or acting like a fool, right? Giving your power away, realize that there's been this synchronicity, and maybe this person has helped you out a lot more than you may have thought. And it's not until now that you're beginning to digest this and without any pain associated. So the meaning is much more clear. The Fool comes up because we're starting at 0 point with this kind of energy. There's such a shift, such a dramatic influx of emotional energy and tenacity, right? To be yourself and to express yourself, such as that the Fool allows you to really just move forward now. It's just this unbinding, free-flowing, and maybe carelessly trusting the process, because you now can see this contrast. You now can see the opposing sides. You now can see and digest both within you and not just plainly observe them or be afraid of what they'll do to you if you admit that they may be true on some level, right? I'm getting this energy like, you guys, you need to just start over, because going back in the past for answers is not suiting you, and allowing people to still have the same effect on you, maybe believing that something in the past has not come to an end, this past partner keeps coming up, or this lover keeps doing the same things to you, and you just have had enough. And it's just time to realize that and to put that on the table and then make a decision. And that's as simple as it needs to be. The Seven of Fire comes up with the Three of Cups, okay? The Seven of Fire being in reverse and the Three of Cups coming upright. So there have been signs. People have tried to talk to you. Your friends have come up to you telling you that he's not good news, or this isn't a good idea. There's been signs and intuitions of your own, thoughts that have been reoccurring, very much so an emphasis of this card. Reoccurring thoughts that you have dismissed, that you have not believed in, that you have not invested in discovering or redefining or looking into because of fear. Because of the fear of what the truth may do to you. And in all honesty, it's going to set you free. Some of you may be involved in a Leo, or with a Leo, or a fire sign in general. It could be Aries, or Sagittarius, or Leo. But what I'm getting is that this person is very watery and intuitive. So again, it could be Sagittarius as well. And this person or this kind of energy is going to be bringing a lot of synchronicities into your life that may be undesirable. Okay, they still will be signs, they still will be truths coming up, and undeniable things that really set the tone for what decision you choose. Okay, but it might be so in your face and so upfront that it's a little uncomfortable. You have to face these things. You have to start listening, because the universe doesn't just operate like it's going to give you some hints and then go away because you're not listening. It's just going to keep knocking down your door until it either breaks open or you open it yourself. So, needless to say, there's some momentum there, and it may be uncomfortable, but what I see in the Three of Cups is that ultimately this is something that you truly desire. Whether it's the fact that you need to cut cords and let go of the people that no longer serve you for good, and that, a new group or a new situation, new friends, new partnerships are in your future, and they're coming to you regardless of whether it's a good time or not. And it's just going to overcomplicate the situation if you don't let go of what you really need to let go of in order to welcome this new in. The Three of Cups also speaks of like this trinity, right? It's harmony, it's stable, it's foundational, it's something that you can invest your time into and really believe in. I feel like from what I read is the partner or whoever you've been involved with, or whatever you've been involved with in the past, has been feeble-minded, wishy-washy, one-sided, incomplete, and just unfair. So that which you're letting go of is very emotional, but it can also be very physical and real. You might actually have to have a conversation with this person, although I don't see a lot of that communication taking place. You guys may not be talking to each other, and there may just be an emotional attachment still in place that needs to be moved on from, because this abundance is really coming your way, and it's going to make you so much happier than anything you've experienced before, and it's going to put you into alignment with the people you need to be involved with, the situations you need to be involved with, the careers you want to do, or the careers you want to have in your life, and this artistic expression that seems to be very fluid within this month. You guys get to be creative this month. You guys get to not only be creative in the colorful sense or the imaginary sense, but creative in the way that you actually navigate your obstacles. Creative in the way that you are able to make ends meet by taking, not necessarily the straightest or the most narrow road. You might have to take this windy road to get back to where you really wanted to be, but you at least see it now. You at least see the clarity in the situation. The 6 of fire comes up. And what this is signifying is that there is a mediation, arbitration. There's an argument coming to a close. There's an agreement, negotiation, fairness. And it seems to be so fitting for us Libras because we're all about justice, right? We always want things to be fair. We always want to balance. We always want to, be in the middle, right? And be able to see all aspects, be able to see all of the options. And we oftentimes make decisions based off of what we think would be the best for all parties and not just for ourselves. So a lot of times that's kind of like the Libra being the sacrificial lamb, or like just really putting others before yourself. And so in that context, we're not only having things come to an end that can be very legal, or with another partner who you haven't been able to see eye to eye with, who has been maybe in the dark or behind the curtains in your life and just still energetically pulling on you, if not also financially and actually demanding your time and energy. This person is going to be seeing you for a different kind of person than you maybe initially, or there was this misunderstanding about. They're going to be seeing eye to eye with you, means that there's an ending and closure. Okay, not just an ending, because the closure is very much associated with this card when it comes up. And the closure itself is bringing you forth into a new chapter in your life. This closure that has been painful, that has been hard, you've gone to battle with this person. You can, again, rebalance. And that's not necessarily saying that you guys will come back together. I actually don't see that in a lot of cases. If some of you are looking at an ex, wondering if things will pan out, my guess is that no. Nope, it won't, because you guys are on different paths, and it's not his part in your life that I'm seeing. It's your part in your life. It's you raising yourself to different standards. And this doesn't only apply to a relationship. This can also apply to the standards or value in which you set in your personal life, in your career, with your family, with your friends. The Three of Cups specifically speaks of healing. Okay, so let's go back to these cards. This card is a healing card, right? So if you have not been whole within yourself or not been able to trust your intuition, this is talking about family and friends, support system, people who you need to guide you in that kind of time will be there. But that ultimately, this is also bringing you into better alignment with the community or kind of relationships you want to hold. And this legal, very legal card, it could be also an Aries. I'm getting Leo or Sagittarius as well. This could be a Libra because it's so balanced and polar opposite. It can also signify a Gemini, someone who's very grounded and earthy but balanced and can see very many perspectives. It's as though you guys have gone through a journey and are reaching this apex of perspective. And that in itself creates a lot more room in your life. This in itself creates some space that you can work with. The Eight of Wands, again another 8, and the 5 of Wands, signifying that there's some karma clearing. And what I wrote down for the 8 of Wands is that there's velocity in this situation. The velocity, steady developments, new beginnings, and rapid conclusions. So the 8 of Wands signifies something that's felt like it's been ongoing, finally sets in motion. It finally releases this loop-de-loop it's been doing so that you can, again, get on your path to either healing, closure, happiness, joy, whatever the case may be. This also signifies birth, children, families, connections, new beginnings, fresh ideas, creative inspiration, passionate experiences. There's so many facets to this card that it's even hard to put into words a lot of the time, because it's this grounded opportunity that allows you to experience so many other facets in your life that you have maybe not known you've been missing, because you've been so attached to this conclusion or this idea of endings being in your favor, or this daydreamy type of reality that you've been hoping to still have a chance at, that seems like it's just not going to work out for you in that way, but it will work out for you. There are many ways, and not just your way, which is signified with the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands comes up because there's change associated with this card. And six, okay, we have a lot of sixes, sevens, I see a couple fives. So there's just something having being said about the kind of change that's happening. And it may be physical, because the wands is something that's very tangible, and you have two wands here. So your environment may change. The people that you're associated with may change. Your partnerships may change. People may come and go within your life, but ultimately this card speaks to a decision being made. Okay, and we can see here that you may be even going somewhere. You may be even actually leaving one place for another, moving homes, moving states, going far away from the situation where there was a lot of clutter, a lot of confusion, a lot of disdain, and people who were unsatisfied, putting in too much effort for little reward, and it just seems like crazy to stay in this kind of situation, where instead I believe that you are now graduating into this more cyclical way of looking at things, karma, conclusions, results, right? And just the kind of, what is the word? The way things will turn out if you put energy towards them. So it's really interesting. There's a lot of change happening, and it can be very surface, right? On the surface level, you could actually just be moving or leaving a situation, leaving a partnership, leaving a job. But in the end, things are going to work out very well for you, and things will definitely turn out fair, right? And sometimes that's all we can ask for, because I think a lot of us are just so sick of this situation that we're washing our hands clean, and we're saying thanks a lot, but take care. Peace. So I hope this helps. Again, just try to stay true to yourself, listen to your heart, and I hope to see you in July. If you'd like a personal reading, please go to my website. I'll link it down to the description box below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, guys.